Hello and good morning. It's been so long since we've been live meetings. All they could find is a tiny little hammer for a gavel. So that's what I will be using and handing off at the end of this meeting. This is the June 23rd, 2022 Land Use Commission meeting. It is a hybrid meeting, which is being held at the LEʻA building, room 405, open to the public, and also by interactive conference technology, which links video conference participants and other interested members of the public via the Zoom webinar platform. Doing this in order to comply with our new state laws. Members of the public are able to view this meeting in person, and there's no one here from the public, or view the meeting via the Zoom webinar platform. For the importance of all meeting participants, I'd like to urge you to speak slowly, clearly, and directly into your microphone. It is helpful if you state your name prior to speaking, as we use the recording of this Zoom meeting to create our court transcripts. In addition, I would note that your continued participation in this meeting is your implied consent to be part of the official record of this event. If you do not wish to be part of the official record, you should leave the meeting now. For any members of the parties who are participating in this meeting via Zoom, all of our commissioners are here in person, except one who is excused. If you have intermittent trouble with accessing this meeting, please let us know, and please be patient with us as we try to restore audiovisual signals to be able to continue to conduct business. For any members of the public who wish to testify during any agenda item for which public testimony is allowed, please use the raise your hand function on Zoom, or if you're dialing in by phone, the key sequence *9. From time to time, depending on how long this meeting lasts, we will take breaks approximately 10 minutes every hour. My name is Jonathan LITIGATION, and I have had the pleasure and honor of serving as the Land Use Commission Chair. We currently have, happily, 9 seated commissioners. Commissioner Nancy Cabral, Commissioner Don Chang, Commissioner Koike Kamakaeo, hello, Commissioner Dan Giovanni, Commissioner Lee Ohigashi, Commissioner Gary Okuda, and Commissioner Arnold Wong are all here in person at the LEʻA building. Commissioner Edmund Axon is excused. Along with us, our small but mighty staff, our Executive Officer, Daniel Oradenker, our Chief Planner, Scott Derrickson, our Staff Planner, Riley Hakoda, our Staff Planner, Martina Segura, are all also here on Oahu. Joining us via Zoom is our Deputy AG of the day, Dan Morris. Our first order of business is adoption of the May 19th, 2022 and the June 8th, 2022 minutes. Mr. Hakoda, has there been any written testimony submitted on either of the sets of minutes?
No, Chair.
Okay. Are there any members of the public who wish to testify on adoption of the minutes? If so, please use the raise your hand function or the *9 key sequence if calling in by phone. I don't see anybody calling in by phone. Seeing none, is there a motion to adopt both sets of minutes? Commissioner Cabral?
I move to adopt the minutes of June 8 and
Is there a second?
Chair.
Commissioner Wong?
I second.
Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor vote aye and raise your hands.
Aye.
Is anybody opposed? Raise your hand and vote nay. Seeing none, the motion passes. Our next order of business is the tentative meeting schedule. Mr. Ordenker.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. In July, we do not have any substantive matters on the schedule. We have commissioners training on July 26th and 27th. In August, we have no hearings currently scheduled. September, we have the HCPO on Kauai on September 14th, 15th, and 16th. And that is basically our schedule for now. I would caution the commissioners that we have a couple of special permits and a 201H project that are in the works, which will be scheduled and will need to be heard fairly quickly. So please hold those meeting dates until you hear from us. Thank you.
Commissioners, are there any questions? Okay, seeing none, our next agenda item is the adoption of the order for A87-610 Kamehameha Schools, Waiawa, Oahu, their motion for modification, time extension, and release and modification of conditions of the order granting the motion for order amending the findings of fact, conclusions of law, and decision and order issued by the Commission on February 11th, 2020, to allow for a modification of the Phase 1 and Phase 2 of the solar farm, and to modify and release various conditions under the Commission's 2014 and 2020 decisions and orders concerning the requirements of the submission of a master plan, archaeological sites and plans, burial plans, historical resources, aircraft hazards, traffic, development plans and schedules, and decommissioning of the solar farm phases. Will the parties please identify yourselves for the record?
I'll start, Chair, if I may. Thanks. This is Jennifer Lim, counsel for petitioner Kamehameha Schools. And because we are all remote, I'll mention that Ms. Michelle Swartman of Kamehameha Schools is in the Zoom audience, just for the Commission's information. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Good morning, Chair and members of the Commission. Onau Nathone, co-counsel for petitioner Kamehameha Schools. And with me on the Zoom is Derek Simon. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Thone. County.
Good morning, Brianna Weaver on behalf of the Department of Planning and Permitting. Also in attendance from DPP are Dina Wong and Franz Crane.
Office of Planning and Sustainable Development.
Good morning, Deputy Attorney General Brian Yee on behalf of the Office of Planning and Sustainable Development. With me is Lorraine Maki from OPSD.
Thank you very much. Mr. Hakoda, has there been any written testimony submitted on the adoption of the order?
No, Chair.
There's no written testimony. Are there any members of the public who wish to testify in this matter? If so, please indicate by raising your hand using the raise your hand function in the Zoom software. There's nobody physically from the public in the room with us, so they're welcome to be here. Any testimony? Seeing none. Commission will now take action to adopt the order. Before we take up the motion, the chair would like to confirm for the record that all commissioners, including myself, are prepared to participate in these proceedings. Commissioner Chang, are you prepared?
Yes, I am.
Commissioner Cabral?
Yes.
Commissioner Okuda?
Yes.
Commissioner Wong?
Yes.
Commissioner Ohigashi?
Yes.
Commissioner Giovanni?
Yes.
Commissioner Kamakaeo, hello? And the chair is also prepared to participate. Commission will now consider adoption of the order. Commissioners, before you, for your consideration, deliberation, and adoption of the proposed findings of fact, conclusions of law, and decision and order prepared by staff as instructed at the last meeting on the docket. Is there any discussion? I'm happy to entertain a motion.
Chair.
Commissioner Wong,
I move for the.
do we
Talked about.
articulate as always, Commissioner Wong? Is there a second?
I second.
A motion has been made to adopt the order as presented to us as drafted by the staff, made by Commissioner Wong and seconded by Commissioner Giovanni. We are in discussion. Would you like to speak to your motion, Commissioner Wong?
Thank you, Chair. Just that this is my last commission meeting and I wanted to go out with a bang as usual with my motions. But I just wanted to say that I do support this, project. However, I just wanted to make sure that there is going to be affordable housing for the people of Hawaii. Right now, we have a need here. And if we don't have it filled, we're going to have more homeless people out there. And that's what we don't want. So, there's people out there, working people that's living on day-to-day paychecks. So I just wanted to make sure that we do have affordable housing and that even the sustainability of our power is there. So everything is set out. That's all, Chair. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Wong. Commissioner Giovanni?
Thank you, Chair. I will be in favor of the motion, largely because it's about an interim use of a solar farm on some important property on Oahu, and it's a good project with a developer with whom I have confidence will deliver. I also share Commissioner Wong's concern and interest in promoting follow through of development of affordable housing on this property. And we'll be looking forward to seeing that come to fruition. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioners, is there further deliberation on the matter? Commissioner Chang.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I too will be voting in favor of the motion. I have appreciated the petitioners. This has been a long hearing. We've had several hearings on this. I believe that the petitioners heard the commission's concerns beyond just the solar farm. And I struggle with the multiple state interests of supporting renewable energy, affordable housing, and sustainable ag. But I, like Commissioner Giovanni, see this as an interim use. That's the representation that was made. And it is, I think it's appropriate, given that it will take the petitioner a while to develop their infrastructure and to get the other plans going for the housing. But I believe that the petitioner has heard this land use commission very loudly, that housing is really critical. And they have an opportunity to do this in the right way. They are an institution that is founded on valuable Hawaiian principles. They are serving a constituency to support education, but beyond that, we have many Native Hawaiians who are also in need of housing. So I see that the petitioner has the opportunity to meet many needs of our community with this project. And I look forward to them timely implementing, coming back to us with more details. But I think that this is a good interim step for this land at this particular point in time. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Commissioner Chang. Commissioners, we're in discussion. Commissioner Cabral.
I am not opposed to having more photovoltaic energy available, as I too have many projects I have done on the Big Island, and I'm in favor of more photovoltaic everywhere. However, I am the housing queen of this group, and I am concerned and will vote against it on principle with the understanding that this body is going to pass it. So I'm not opposed to it moving forward, but I just on principle want to make sure that someone knows that it wasn't just this rubber stamp and that we really thought about this. And I would also want to caution my fellow commissioners, affordable housing, as with the politicians, that is the buzzword of the world. I, who managed lots of affordable housing projects, warn against going into affordable housing. Once it's federally funded, you will then open those doors to people from all over the United States who sign up and will move in here. And before you know it, not one person living potentially in that project, affordable housing project, will have started in Hawaii. They may have all moved over when their name rolled up on that list. So I really want to get the buzzword to be workforce housing. We need housing for our working citizens so that they can continue to stay a body, a family at home with a wonderful place to live and raise their children and be a member of our community. So I'm not really in favor of bringing in more people of low income from all over the United States because Hawaii is more beautiful than the affordable housing project they're now living in New York City, Harlem or somewhere, okay? So I will not vote for it, but I am not opposed to the project. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Cabral. Commissioners? Commissioner Okuda.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. I will be voting in favor of this motion, but since it's Commissioner Wong's last meeting, I would like to disagree with him on just one point which I raised earlier. I do agree with the rationale that everyone who's spoken to now has given with respect to this project, and I agree. But I'd like to just say something, and this also goes to finding of fact 111, my own view of what that all means. It is not the job of Kamehameha Schools, Bishop Estate to provide affordable housing. As long as the Ninth Circuit case of John Doe versus KSBE remains the controlling precedent, I believe that its function and goals are, as the trustees have set out, implementing the will of Bernice Pauahi Bishop. There is nothing in their duties to provide affordable housing or any housing to anyone in the state of Hawaii. It's to provide education, other types of support as described in that Ninth Circuit case. So even though I'm voting in favor of this motion, I just like to make it clear that I do not believe that at this point in time, under the controlling precedents where Kamehameha Schools is allowed to give preference to Native Hawaiians, that it's their job to provide housing for everybody else in the state. Now, if for some reason that precedent is overturned in the future, well, then that's a different story. But right now, anyway, the purpose of the trust is not to provide affordable housing or any housing. It's to implement the intent of Bernice Pauahi Bishop. And so I'll be voting in favor of this motion with that clarification. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Commissioner Okuda. Commissioners, further deliberation? I have already extensively spoken about my thoughts about this project at our previous meetings. I respectfully respond to the word that a certain attorney who appears in front of us taught me, colloquy between the colloquy between Commissioners Okuda and Wong. I agree we need affordable housing. I actually agree in a sort of narrow legal sense with Commissioner Okuda that the primary mission of Kamehameha Schools is for the education of Native Hawaiian children. But you know, we went, and I lived through a time, I think mostly everybody in this room lived through a time when there was a time when the Kamehameha Schools, Bishop Estate trustees viewed their job as exclusively making as much money as possible from their lands in order to take children and educate them at Kapalama. And only after a community-based strategic plan did they start to look at the AINA that they held as having multiple values, not just economic, certainly economic, but also educational, cultural, community, and natural resource values. And so with that said, I have as I've noted, this is the last ridgeline between Kamehameha Ridge in East Honolulu and WAIAWA that is undeveloped. It is a tremendous possibility. And we have endeavored as this commission, you'll hear even in our disagreements now, endeavored to bring our best selves to this decision. And I have no doubt that Kamehameha Schools and its partners and allies will endeavor to bring their best selves to this project to make it succeed. And I look forward to that and will be voting in favor of the motion. Is there any further discussion? If not, Mr. Ordenko, would you please poll the commission?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The motion is to adopt the order in A87-610 WAIAWA. Commissioner Wong. Aye. Commissioner Giovanni.
Aye.
Commissioner Ohigashi.
Aye.
Commissioner Okuda.
Yes.
Commissioner Cabral.
No.
Commissioner Chang.
Aye.
Commissioner Kamakeo Hill.
Aye.
Chair Schreier.
Aye.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The motion passes with 7 affirmative votes and 1 negative.
Thank you very much to the petitioner and to the parties, especially for your endurance, Ms. Lim and Ms. Thone, with our extensive hearings on this matter. We really appreciate it.
Thank you for your attention to this matter.
Thank you very much.
We will take a brief recess as the parties move themselves from the room. It'll be probably less than a minute.
That's a solemn sound.
Hey, Dan. Oops. All right, dang it. I just wanted to say goodbye to some of the some of the commissioners. I could do that at the end, or I could do it after recess.
I'll make time, Mr. Lee.
Thank you.
Okay, I think Ms. Wong is still in the room, and I don't believe needs to stay. Back in session. It's a different devil. Aloha, we're back in session. Our next agenda item is a briefing by the Department of the Attorney General on litigation and appellate proceedings concerning DW-AINA LEʻA Development LLC versus the State of Hawaii Land Use Commission Civil Number 17-00113. I understand Deputy Attorney General David Day, who represented the Land Use Commission in this matter, is here to brief us on recent events. Before we do, since this is an agendized item, I want to just check if there's anybody who wishes to provide public testimony on this matter. Mr. Hokoda, no written testimony? Okay. Is there anybody in the room who wishes to provide public testimony on this matter? The virtual room, there's nobody with us physically. Seeing that there's nobody who wishes to provide testimony on this matter, Mr. Day, would you like to provide us with a basic overview of what you want to discuss with the commission?
Sure. I'm Deputy Solicitor General David Day. I've worked on this case for as long as I've been at the Attorney General's office, either the DW-AINA LEʻA case or the Bridge-AINA LEʻA case, which was resolved in 2021 finally when the U.S. Supreme Court rejected certiorari of a positive decision in our favor in the Bridge-AINA LEʻA decision. Well, let me just back up real quick. So all of these litigations stem from an April 25th, 2011 decision of the Land Use Commission to revert approximately 1,060 acres of land in Waikoloa, known as the villages of AINA LEʻA. That decision was appealed by through 91-14 by two parties. One of them was the landowner, Bridge-AINA LEʻA, and one of them was by an entity called DW-AINA LEʻA, which had a purchase and sale agreement with Bridge-AINA LEʻA for the purchase of the property that predated the reversion. In 2014, the Hawaii Supreme Court vacated the decision of the Land Use Commission to revert the property, saying that the statutory prerequisites for reversion had not been fulfilled. The Bridge-AINA LEʻA decision, the Bridge-AINA LEʻA filed a regulatory takings lawsuit against the state of Hawaii and the Land Use Commission, contending that it was a regulatory taking for the reversion and that it was improper. We went to trial in 2017 and a jury found that there had been a taking, but the court awarded $1 in nominal damages. That was then appealed and cross-appealed to the Ninth Circuit, in which the state prevailed at the Ninth Circuit, where the court said as a matter of law that there was no regulatory taking. That then went to the United States Supreme Court on a petition for writ of certiorari, which was rejected in early 2021, I believe, with one dissent by Justice Clarence Thomas. DW-AINA LEʻA had filed a lawsuit in 2017 alleging a regulatory taking. It was a separate lawsuit saying that basically its development rights, quote unquote, had been taken by the Land Use Commission's decision to revert. The first thing that happened is that we filed a motion to dismiss on statute of limitations grounds, which the federal court granted. That went to the Ninth Circuit, and then after the Ninth Circuit eventually vacated that decision, holding that the statute of limitations for regulatory taking in the state of Hawaii was 2 years, not 6 years, based on a certified question from the Hawaii Supreme Court. So that got reverted. It then went to full-blown litigation. We moved for summary judgment in early this year, 2022, which was granted on May 25th, 2022. So again, we prevailed this time on the merits, and that decision has been appealed. That's where we are right now. Is basically has just been appealed to the Ninth Circuit. By DW AINA LEʻA. We have a mediation conference coming up that we'd like to discuss. All questions regarding the, I guess the current status of the case that goes into the mental impressions of attorneys and our strategy, we would respectfully request be held in executive session to preserve the attorney-client privilege and work product of this commission. We've had a very positive working relationship with the entire Land Use Commission team, including Mr. Oradenker, Mr. Derrickson, Mr. Hakoda, and we'd like to thank them for their support in this litigation, and we're proud to represent the Land Use Commission in this matter.
Thank you very much, Mr. Day. Commissioners, are there any questions that you wish to ask in open session to Mr. Day that don't violate the concerns that he raised, or alternately, I will accept a motion to move into executive session. Commissioner Cabral.
I make a motion, we go into executive session.
To consult with the commission's attorney regarding the commission's powers, duties, privileges, immunities, and liabilities on this agenda item?
Correct.
Is there a second?
May I make one clarification? Lauren Chun is the Deputy Attorney General who also represents the state. I neglected to introduce her. She's on this call, and I would ask that she be participating in the executive session as well. Sorry.
Thanks for coming on screen, Ms. Chun. Is there a second? Commissioner Chang. Is there any deliberation? So we're all in person, but just for the benefit of those viewing us on the screen, I'm going to ask all in favor of going into executive session, say aye and raise your hand. Aye. Is there anybody opposed? Say nay and raise your hand. Seeing none, the commission will go into executive session. For folks who are in the Zoom meeting will continue. You will see a screen that indicates we are going into executive session, and we will come out of executive session back to this meeting after that. We're going into executive session. Still have four in attendance. Here we are. It is 11:03. We are out of executive session. Our next agenda item is discussion and action on the election of Land Use Commission officers.
Mr. Chair.
First, Commissioner Wong. Has there been any written testimony submitted on this item?
No, Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Hakoda. No written testimony. Is there anybody who wishes to testify orally on this matter? If so, indicate by raising your hand using your raise your hand function. Seeing none.
No.
Seeing none. Commissioner Wong.
Yeah, Mr. Chair, as you know, we were appointed, you, myself, and Commissioner Axon was appointed to look into this issue. After deliberating with our group, I would like to make a motion for a slate of officers.
Please proceed.
So for the next incoming chair would be Commissioner Giovanni. First vice chair will be Commissioner Cabral, and second vice chair will be Commissioner Ohigashi.
Is there a second? Commissioner Chang has seconded. Let me just confirm on the record that all three of the individuals are willing to accept if the vote proceeds. Commissioner Giovanni? Aye. And Commissioner Cabral, you're willing? And Commissioner Ohigashi, oh yes, okay, he says yes. Commissioner Ohigashi, are you willing to serve as second vice chair? We do not, this chair does not accept Honolulu as a response. Commissioner Ohigashi. Are you affirming?
Pains me.
However, you are accepting Commissioner Higashi? Okay.
Thank you.
Is there any further discussion or deliberation? Seeing none, all in favor, say aye and raise your hand. Aye. Anybody opposed, say nay. I'm not calling for Kanalua. And I was given this by the staff, this rubber gavel to hand to our incoming chair. Yeah. With that, our last agenda item. And the last agenda item for both me and Commissioner Wong is an executive session pursuant to HRS section 92(5)(a)(2) to consider personnel matters in which consideration affecting privacy will be involved. Staff has informed me that there's no public testimony received regarding this. I will entertain a motion to go into executive session. Let me be clear for the 4 people currently who are still attending the Zoom meeting. Oh, you know what? Before we go this, if I may, Mr. Yee, are you still with us?
Yes.
You wish to address the commission, Mr. Yee. I apologize.
No, thank you for the opportunity. I know this is the last meeting for 3 of the commissioners, and if I may just take the liberty of displaying for you my little known superpower of performing nonsensical limericks. So as a way of saying farewell and thank you, if I may.
Please proceed.
There once was a commissioner named Axon, whose insights relied to the max on. Though his words were just few, we valued his view. Now get a couch and a drink to relax on. My second, if I may, is there once was a commissioner named Wong.
Mr. Yee,
yes.
You're going to have to transmit these in writing to the commission.
I will forward them, yes. There once was a commissioner named Wong, who was right more often than wrong. I know I'm not a lawyer, he said, but he knew the law in his head. We'll miss his laughter for long. And finally, there once was a commissioner named Schroyer, who knew public trust like a lawyer. Trust was more than a word. All views were welcomed and heard. But I still say he looks like Tom Sawyer. Thank you very much, commissioners. We rely upon people like you to provide volunteer services. So I just wanted to say thank you.
Mahalo nui, Brian. This is quite a superpower you have. You're honored. Thank you so much. With that, for anybody who's attending the meeting will be kept open, and then we will have to come out briefly to adjourn publicly. But we are going to go into executive session if we have a successful motion. Is there a motion to move into executive session? Moved by Commissioner Higashi. Second by Commissioner Cabral. All in favor, say aye. Is anybody opposed? Say nay. Okay, the commission will go into executive session regarding employment matters. We will, at the conclusion of executive session, come out and just to adjourn the meeting. Mahalo nui, especially to you, Mr. Yee. That was excellent.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Right. Dan Morris, you got to go into executive session with us, please. Same link.
Will do.
Thank you.
Okay, it is 11:47 a.m. We are back in open session. Perfectly emblematic, Commissioner Cabral is on her phone. I'm handing the gavel. I'm handing the gavel over to incoming chair, Commissioner Giovanni, but we'll do so after I bang it last time. There being no further business, this meeting of the Land Use Commission is adjourned.